Hey everybody. Hopefully y'all can hear me. I think my headphones are on before I get started. Robert, can you hear me? I'm always messing up my audio and technological, so let me know in the chat if you guys got me. Good. Okay. Um so we're changing things up today. Um First of all, I want to say check out the new podcast. It dropped yesterday, Sun Grown Stories. Go to my website, www.queenofthesungrown.com/podcast, or my channel. The last video I shared was the podcast, the first episode, the prelude episode of Sun Grown Stories, Tales from a Holistic Garden. It's been so much thought, effort, time, and ideas come together for this moment. So I'm very, very excited. Leave a review. You can find it on anywhere you listen to podcasts. So now that we got that out of the way, let's talk about what we're doing today. So today is a new project, a new experiment, because what's life but one giant experiment, right? And the garden is always a good place to experiment, to learn more about plants, yourself, the way the world interacts, and a good old-fashioned chemistry. So um, to debrief the autoflower grow along, the experiment in the kitchen. Um, what up, Claudio, Robert, Dank, Stranger? I'd have to say that it didn't work out as well as I had hoped. I thought that the lights would be better. But you know what? Whatever. I'll take some pics and a video of the plants. They didn't get very dense. So, you know, we will try again. But that's why I love outside so much better. Anyway, we're going to be in the tent. I have time for one more grow in this tent before we have to move. And this is going to be a revitalization of bringing some plants that I've neglected for a month and a half, almost 2 months. They've been in solo cups, seed plants. I'm going to show you guys how to bring some neglected plants back to health. Well, hopefully I am. I've actually never grown in an ebb and flow system, so I'm hitting myself with a couple of variables. Root bound plants that have been in tiny containers for way too long. And then a new complete growing style that I have never done before, but that's the only way you learn, right? Try new things. And I'm really interested in seeing how we can manipulate plants. And plus, it's just like, ebb and flow, hydroponic. It's like in between, because I'm using a soil medium. I mean, it's soilless, I guess, because all potting mix is really soilless. But I'm putting in a ton of microbes and my dry amendments, and I've got my soil right here. Um, yeah, dude, Mr. Django, man. Sometimes we can be so mean to our plants, and they still love us and give back to us. So it is what it is. But let's put together this fucking ebb and flow system and see what it's about. This is going to be interesting because sometimes I get frustrated putting things together. So I've been meaning to do this for like a month, but I'm so busy. My life is crazy. And when you're not a professional, like this isn't your job anymore. I mean, like growing plants constantly isn't. When I was in California, that was like my job, full-time job. That's all I did, take care of plants. Now I have so many different facets to my job, from teaching classes. I have 4 different gardens. Sometimes, little experiments like this new hydroponic system get pushed to the side. But needless to say, thank you, Grow Ace, for sending me this ebb and flow system. I'm hoping that it'll be like a set it and forget it kind of thing. And that'll be great because I have to move in a couple months. And I just want this to get these plants turned around, feeling good. And, set it and forget it. So I got I don't know where my HLG glasses are. So I'm wearing these ones because I'm going into the tent and I don't want these LEDs on me. So we're going to see what they gave me. All right. So we've got this Advanced brain control module. Connect up to 36 AirCube grow buckets per controller. Compatible with the AirCube 6-site bucket system. So I'm going to have 6 buckets in here, and it includes 7-gallon controller brain, 3/4 inch straight connector, stopper, rubber grommet, 15 feet length tubing, vacuum brake, barbed elbow, 317 gallon per hour water pump. Oh my goodness, you guys. I'm definitely going to have to ask my husband to come down here because, I mean, I like putting together irrigation, don't get me wrong, but I can get frustrated with controller electronics. He's the mechanic, so let's see what this shit looks like. I don't even know where we're supposed to put it. This is all you guys are learning with me because this is completely out of my realm of expertise. But that's how you become better, more intelligent person, right? Trying new things, putting yourself out of your comfort zone. Okay, so it looks like here we've got our controller, timer, drain pump, fill pump. Okay. Not really sure if it's supposed to be inside the grow tent or outside the grow tent. The difficulty about this grow tent is that it's in the playroom. You know, my 3-year-old son's playroom. So hopefully we don't have too many things outside that he can mess with, because I can see a disaster happening if he gets a hold of this. Looks like that goes on there. So we've got a little cover. That doesn't stand a chance to him though. Throw that up there. Okay, let's open it up and see what else we've got. So 6-site bucket system. The thing with this is I guess that it just automatically, it's like hydroponic, right? Hydroponic means that there's not hydro water growing. So you're growing in a water solution, ebb and flow. It's just naturally or mechanically releasing water on an as needed basis with the timer with that brain. So we're setting this up. This is completely different from my preferred style of growing. Like I like living soil, growing inside of a big bed, but a lot of people can't do that. They can't grow in large containers. And honestly, it's really difficult to give your plants enough nutrition with a purely living soil potting mix in small containers. So I am going to be doing this to learn more about hydroponics. And also, I really love, I've been using the Organics Alive water soluble nutrients for almost a year now, maybe 6 months, a year. Oh gosh, let's see, I'm going to get this out. The tubing, there we go. Oh, these are pretty. Oh, my plants are going to be so happy just getting into out of their solo cups into this size of a container. So we've got 6 of those in here. And I'm doing all seeds from Seedsman Genetics. I think I've got banana jealousy that I'm really excited about. And then some apple fritter cross. And I missed the train when apple fritter was like the hype, like 2-3 years ago. That was like, oh, apple fritter, you got that? And I didn't grow it. And so I've been wanting to, 3 years later after the hype, see what all the fuss is about. So I got a cross of it. I can't remember who sent the seeds for that one. But I'll bring the seed plants in here and you guys can see how sad they are. And we'll talk about how you can get your plants feeling better, looking better, doing better after neglecting them. Oh, this is what I've been looking for, the instruction manual. Gosh, I was like worried that it got thrown out. Thank God we have this instruction manual. Okay, I'm familiar with irrigation. I could set up drip tape and soaker hose. Ain't no problem there. So I think that should be good. Okay. Now this thing is pretty cool. I'm stoked about this. This is the ultra heavy duty collapsible reservoir, 60-gallon reservoir. So I'm hoping the way this room is set up is like playrooms over there. wrestling and all of the things 3-year-old boys like to do, dinosaurs. And then out this door to the left is the garage, um, and our other garden and all of the gardening equipment, literally like 10 feet away out that door. And then straight ahead of me around the corner is the bathroom where all of our water is. So I'm hoping that I can put this 60-gallon collapsible reservoir right outside the door. It'll be easy access to the nutrients in the garage and the water source in the bathroom, laundry room. Yeah, you got to make do with what you got, right? Not everybody can grow. I mean, it's fucking cold as shit in Washington right now, so I can't wait to be outside in the summer. But I'm really excited to see how this banana jealousy. Oh my god, it's gonna be so good. Jealousy is another one of those hype streams that looks so beautiful, and I'm really excited to just see how it does in my garden. Okay, let's look at this thing. Yay, more instructions. Pole locking nut ×6. That's a funny word. Please remove first. And they sent a picture of it like this. Like, what the heck is that? Please remove first. I don't know. Please remove. What the hell? Okay, lots more parts and pieces. The shutoff valve, that's good. Got that in there. Whoa, 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 whoa. Okay, let's see how that pops up. We're good. This is actually not as many pieces as I was thinking it was going to be. So where's that thing that says please remove first? Because they sent me a picture. You would think that there would be like, please remove first. What? What am I removing first? Oh my god. Now it's giving me anxiety, like I'm gonna be messing something up. Look at that. That just like pops out, and you've got 60-gallon reservoir. Wow. Okay. Well, let me check the comments and see what your guys are saying over here. Oh, I can't read with my glasses on. Okay. Calling the muscle. Hi, Anne. Okay. Had to take neat and a little scary. Yeah, I know. It is a little intimidating. All of these parts and pieces. It's like, dude, you know what is the easiest, best way to grow? Is just fucking plant it in the ground. But can't do that right now. I got 2 months. Grow as much weed as I can. Got to move out. Got to just do it. Got to take care of these plants. Got to fucking hustle. And this is sent to me for free. So, oh, hell yeah, Robert. Downloaded the manual. You're going to help me out set this up. Thank you. And thank you, Anne. Yes, my birthday, another year older, another year wiser, hopefully. Let's see. I'm going to start with looking at the instructions. And I might even just like, move over to the mixing the soil. I don't even think this is enough soil. I don't know what my husband was thinking. Like, we mixed our own soil. Let me see if I can just show you. So over there we got some soil that we mixed, and he thought that that would be enough to fill all 6 of these. That's definitely not enough to fill all 6 of those. So we're gonna have to do something. Okay, and then I got these bags. So let's see. It seriously looks like I'm missing something though, because I think that the water goes in there, and like, how am I supposed to? Let me go through this. Air pruning fabric pot. Okay, that goes in there. Okay, let's get that open. This should be very interesting. Wishful thinking. Yeah, I know, right? There's no way that a little tote is gonna fill 6 fucking containers of. But that's okay. We'll get started. And I've got all my dry amendments over here, so you can see what I really love using neem meal. It's a nice, long-lasting form of nitrogen. It has pest prevention properties to it because it slows down the reproduction of insects. So, thinking about it now, like, I guess this goes inside of this. Yeah, maybe, I can fill them all with a little bit of soil and then see what I need to top off with and maybe buy some. I'm really blessed that I live next to a worm farm. And they will custom blend and mix soil for me. So even though we mix this one by hand because we're recycling and reusing, this is the last bit of our recycled soil. So I could just order a little bit from them of a custom blend. So I'm just going to go ahead and line these with these little fabric grow bags. So first thing I notice about this is while I don't like all of the plastic, I do like that it is very sturdy. So this is something that I can use for years and years to come. And it's going to be, like a very, what's the word I'm looking for? Hybrid style of growing, because obviously I'm going to be using my microbes and mix and dry amendments, but I'm also going to be using the Organics Alive fully water soluble nutrient. It's super clean, so I'm not going to run. The problem with a lot of organics when you're running in like these types of water systems with a lot of irrigation is that unless you're running even like blue mat, you really don't want to use too many like thick organic materials that could get clogged in the system and then have bacterial overgrowth. So I'm still tripping on why this says please remove first. I didn't see anything that was supposed to be removed. So the buckets are 7-gallon. So I need 7 times 6, 35 gallons. That's definitely not 35 gallons, but it's okay. You know what? Getting transplanted into even a gallon of soil is going to be better for those little plants than what they're in right now. It's going to be embarrassing when I pull these plants out. I haven't even looked at them in a month. I literally just went in and asked my husband if they were still alive, which is sad. Like, are my plants still alive? I started the seeds and put them in the soil blocker and did that so long ago. That was actually Thanksgiving, you guys. I started the seeds Thanksgiving, and they've been in solo cups almost since, like Christmas or a little bit before Christmas. So, yeah, shit, month and a half. Wow. Don't judge me, you guys. I'm a mom. Everything changes when you become a mom. You don't remember your name. Okay, so I've got the bucket set up or lined. Let's see here. I'm going to take that water. I'm just trying to think of like how this is going to be really like how this is going to be lined up in here so that the canopy management and all of that shit. So I definitely want to keep the brain inside here. I'm going to probably put it by the front so that I have easy access to it. And then the water tank will be right out there so we can connect everything. Maybe the brain on the right side so that it's right next to the water reservoir. And then we should have plenty of room. I was thinking like maybe putting the water tank in here too, but that would be too much room. I want these plants to get huge. They're going to need some time to recover too. So this thing is kind of crazy. I'm going to rearrange. Oh God, I'm in here without my glasses. So bright. So we'll move these back. Let's get organized. Let's think about how we want this. I'm going to move the brain to this side. And might end up moving it out. We shall see. These are the connectors for the water reservoir. So let's put put that together. Let's see how easy this is or difficult. Instructions. Okay, so we've got 12 poles, 6 pole connectors, 6 pole nuts, just kidding, pole locking nuts, and 1 outlet tap valve. All right, you guys. So let's do this. And see how easy or difficult it is. So the writing is upside down, so I'm going to assume that it's actually this way. And I still don't first, which is so weird. Why would they put, why, if it's not? So first support pole, access the tank through top zipper. That's cool. It's a little, oh wow, and then it's got markings on the inside here. I wish you guys, let me see if I can show you. So, so you can see where you're filling your water to. So let me check the, yeah, you don't want the water in the room. It'll get too hot. Definitely not. Start looking for the sticker that plug that needs to be removed. They don't have the sheet that they included in the instructions online about removing whatever it is. Yeah, exactly. Life happens, especially on the ranch, especially in the home, whatever. You know, plants are resilient, and we can definitely learn that, take that as a life lesson that, you know, life happens, and it's about getting back up, trying again, trying harder, and improving. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to show you how these plants can rebound after being neglected. So first thing we're going to do is put these poles together. So they brought us, we've got these 2 pieces. My son might actually be coming down here to help. Here, we're going to pop that in. Easy peasy. Okay. Sweet. This thing goes on the top. We're going to, well, actually, it says don't put this in yet. Oh my God, I can hear him screaming. I hope he's not going to come down here and scream. I would apologize. That's like the worst thing to hear is a child screaming. Okay, so you put that pole in first, and then this goes up here. This is strange. We'll see how this works. Oh God, might need a helping hand with this one. I wish somebody could come over here and hold this up for me. Let's see here. Okay. Dude, stop screaming. It's so annoying. Child. Okay, is this going to be difficult or easy? It's going to be difficult. Mother effer. And with the child screaming. Okay, so I'm going to try this again a different way, different approach. I would say push this up inside as far as it'll go. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, so the tension there, it allows you to push it up so you can have a better mother effing angle. Once I get this first one in, it should be a lot easier because, well, it's gonna stick up and hold itself rigid. There we go. Now we got this thing. We're gonna just put that in there, maybe. Oh, maybe that is what they're talking about. Remove that. Okay, there we go. That makes sense. Okay, I'll explain that to you guys. Oh, come on. Yay, the first one's in. That got me sweating. I was getting nervous performing, trying to figure something out in front of you guys. Holy shit. Okay, first one's done. So what they were talking about for removal was these little things. Homie, what are you doing? Yeah, your toys are in there, but they're blocked. You can't play in here right now. Sorry. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and remove all of those. Go help Dad. You guys gotta go fix my car. Yeah, dude. So yesterday while I was driving, oh my goodness, I love children. That's so sad. So I love my child. I just don't want him in here on the video. um, what's up, baby? You're okay. Here, do you want to take these? Look, these are cool. They could be like eyes. Whoa! Here you go. Yeah, go play with those. Show Dad. See, kids are great. Okay. Yeah, exactly. He's like, my toys. Okay, so we removed all those little black things. That's what they were talking about. Okay, totally makes sense. Let's get this shit put together and then get it out of here. I don't want it in here. It's taking up too much space. And then we can actually get the plants in, and you guys can see what I'm talking about with how fucked up they are. It's okay though. But y'all, did you watch the first episode of the podcast or listen to it? Like, let me know what you think in the comments. I need feedback. I'm so excited. It's just been like the anticipation has been killing me. I've been ready to get it out there. Oh, dropped it in there. Okay, in. Second one in. Boom. There we go. And I'm gonna be using probably the Organics Alive in here. And the thing with the organics, like I was saying, you don't want like bacterial growth, algae growth, getting too, it can clog your lines, and you can mitigate that with, oh my God, enzymes you can use. There's a specific enzyme for everything. So, mother effer, this is hard. I use the fucking muscle. There we go. Maybe. Come on. This is not that easy, you guys. This is making me sweat. This is fucking, the tension between these is hurting my fucking hands. Come on. Screw on there. Okay. No. Come on. So ease of putting together, I'm giving like a 2 out of 10. This is retarded. I'm sorry, that was a terrible word choice. I'm not. That was me being a childish person. I'm so sorry I said that. Oh my goodness. You know what? I'm gonna just put it on the other side. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this out and put it on the other side to try to even out the tension. I think that would be my best option there. Oh my God, I'm getting so hot and sweaty up in here. Yeah, 2 out of 10 for difficulty. I'm not gonna get hurt, you guys. I'm just so freaking independent to fault. Okay, there we go. Now I think this should help create a better, like I can lift up higher maybe. We'll see. I might actually end up having to ask my husband to come help because this is, okay, come on. It's just not connecting, threading. Come on. I need help. I did it. I called. I do. I need help. I can't do this. This is hurting my finger. It's just the tension. I can't get the threading to connect. This is my husband, everybody. Say hi. Okay. So I need to connect those, but the tension, I just can't push down and connect it out of. Here, I'll give you more. Don't step on the stuff. Here, go fetch. Yeah, there you go. See? It's a pain in the freaking ass. You want me to twist while you're pushing? That would, I think, would be best. Okay, push. So you need.
That's here. If I go like this.
There we go. All right. So the trick to that was. It's not. Okay. Go.
Let me go.
Mother effer. Okay. It's threading, finally. What a pain in the freaking ass. I'm hoping that the next ones will be easier because we've created the tension between the two sides.
I don't know where that's supposed to go.
Oh my god, it's not in there, so.
No, we can get it.
That was stupid. In the one directly below, with a spot, there's like a. Oh my goodness. Okay. Thank you. Holy shit, that made me sweat. Okay, so really what's going on is you can't really see, there's like a little spot for you to put this in on the bottom. And then there is whatever with threading, 3/4 inch threaded cap that goes on this. And the tension is so tight that it's difficult to push it down far enough for the threading to catch without using another person. So we'll see if I can do these other ones, but man, I'm getting I don't know if it's because I'm just doing this live or I'm getting nervous or I'm just really sweaty from the light, but it's definitely making me sweat a lot doing this. I really hope this one goes in much easier. Let's see. Hey, I think it's going to just be like a dream. Perfect. Okay, so my recommendation, if you do something like this, if you buy this stupid fucking thing, set one up on this side, one up on this side, and so that you have even tension lifting both sides of the container up, and then it'll make it so much easier because that was super easy. So you really need help for one, unless you are, just like way stronger than me and not so flustered so easily. Okay, we're gonna just finish putting this together and then get this shit out of the way so we can talk about the amendments that I'm using. And yeah, my husband is fixing my car right now. It's actually kind of scary. I went to the ski resort yesterday. I am also talk about having so many activities, too many things to do. I decided to instruct snowboarding this year because I wanted to teach my son how to snowboard, and I started instructing. I just love teaching people how to do things, especially things that I love. So I love snowboarding, I love mountain biking, I love growing weed and smoking weed. It's like my favorite things in the world, and like doing them all together. I mean, you can't grow weed while you mountain bike, but you know what I mean. So I started instructing this year. I was like, I really don't need another activity. But I thought it would be a good way for me to learn how to. This one's going to be a motherfucker. You know what? I am not going to even try and thread them. I'm just going to put them in and then wait for my husband to get done fixing my car. So back to that story. As I was driving home from the ski resort, my axle fucking went out. Like, it was shaking and my front end was going crazy, and the lights came on for let's see, maybe I just messed this up and didn't get it in all the way. There we go. Yeah, it should have been easier. Okay, so you just got to make sure that it pops in. And a nice little trick with threads is, like, if you go left first, left is loosey and righty tighty, but if you go left first, it'll usually line up your threads for you on anything. So that's a little trick I used. So yeah, he's going outside to fix the axle because something happened to it yesterday when I was driving home from the ski resort. Luckily, I was only like 10 minutes from the house before the car just went check engine light on and flashing and shaking the front end and all kinds of stupid shit. It was just so stressful. I hate car problems. My car's not even that old. It's 2018. But I fucking drift the shit out of that and rode it hard. Rode hard, put away wet. Because I really love driving too. Like crazy. My cousin's terrified of driving with me. My next career, you guys, is gonna be besides, a cannabis educator and now I'm a snowboard instructor. It's gonna be a rally car driver. Definitely gonna get into rally car racing because that shit's fun. Okay. Woo! After a lot of sweat, blood, sweat, and tears, my 60-gallon collapsible water tank has been put together. Oh my God. And you know what? I didn't do step 1 first. I didn't read the instructions and I didn't put I'm so dumb. I can't believe I did that. I just went straight to, this is why you're supposed to read the instructions first, you guys, and not just start putting things together, which is what I did. But it's going to be okay. It's going to be all right because what I did is I didn't put the freaking fitting outlet tap through the reservoir. And I don't even know what that is. Honestly, I don't know which piece that is. I think it's this, but it does not look like it. And I was supposed to put that down at the bottom. So I'm going to have to go in there and reach down. Oh man, I'll just save that for my husband. He can figure that out. Because it sounds like you can fix my problems that I cause. Here, okay. This does not look the same as what they're showing in the pictures. So I'm very confused. But sometimes these pictures are definitely not accurate depictions of what they're trying to show. So I'm just gonna go with that. Okay, I'm done with that. You can help me finish it. I'm gonna put it outside here and we're gonna talk about nutrients because that's what I like. I like nutrients. I like amendments. We're gonna talk about the things that I add to my mix. Okay, thank you, Mr. Jingo. I'm so dirty and I keep hitting my knee on the freaking metal pole inside of the tent. Let me put my glasses on. Oh, I can't see very well when I put my glasses on. Can't see that at all. Oh well. Okay, so got our fittings, put that away. We're not gonna deal with this shit anymore. He can help me do that. Includes 2 washers and that's 2 washers and a locking nut, I think. I don't know. Whatever. He'll do that. Seems like something I don't want to do. That's the benefit of being married, You guys just like trade things that you want and you don't want. Let's talk about nutrients. So, my base potting mix is a combination of cocoa coir and peat moss. So let's talk about those 2 things. Cocoa coir and peat moss are interchangeable. A lot of people will grow in either or. Peat moss being um, ancient sphagnum peat moss that has decomposed, decayed, and um, they use it in a lot of potting mixes. And one of the reasons it has a particular bacteria species that thrives in it and use it as a habitat that is excellent for plant growth and just soil food web in general. But it can be unsustainable because obviously it's not renewable. It takes hundreds, if not thousands of years for peat moss to stabilize from its living form to its stable, decayed form that we use in this potting mix. And the way that it is harvested, oftentimes it is harvested in areas where there were ancient bogs, and you can disturb a lot of ecosystems, nature, depending on how it's harvested. It takes a long time to form. So if you do use peat moss, Canada does a really good job of, they have a certain amount that can be harvested every year. I saw living sphagnum peat moss in the swamps in Florida, and essentially thinking about how old it is, it contains a lot of humic and fulvic, um, and it is just like aeration. Like I said, certain bacteria live in sphagnum peat moss. And then cocoa coir is very similar, but it's a byproduct of an industry. So rather than mining it from the earth, it is a waste product that is from the coconut industry. It's basically the hole around the coconut shell. So um, I I've grown in straight up cocoa before. When I first learned how to grow, I was learning from a guy that was hydroponics cocoa coir with advanced nutrients, salty as salt can be, right? So that is an issue that you need to consider. Is cocoa coir has or can have a lot of salt in it, depending on where it's harvested or how it's processed. Sometimes they wash it in the ocean in like Thailand, and then you're also considering your carbon footprint. Like, is it better to source peat moss that's harvested right here in Canada, where I live in Washington, or is it better to use cocoa coir because it's a waste product? Oh, there's so many things to think about when you're trying to be like earth conscious and friendly to the environment, but just try your best and be aware and then make the decision that's best for you, because that is all you can do. Just try a little harder. So we've got rice holes in here also. I love my rice holes. They help with the water retention and aeration, and um, they are 90% silica. It's also a waste byproduct. I'm a huge fan of using waste byproducts. That's the whole point of closed loop. um, you know, Closed loop. What does that mean? Closing the loop. It means taking something that would be otherwise waste and putting it into that loop to keep the cycle going. So any way you can reduce waste is a positive in my mind. There is some concern about arsenic in rice because it accumulates, but I have grown with rice hulls and grown commercially in California, where all of my cannabis was tested and I never failed heavy metals, and I've always used kelp and rice hulls. So those are two things in organic gardening that people always scream heavy metals, and so far I have never. But you can mitigate heavy metal uptake with the passivation of biochar and humic acids, which are plentiful in peat moss and compost. Um, So there's pumice in here for a little bit extra aeration in addition to the rice hulls, and they don't break down, whereas rice hulls eventually will, but it takes a long time. Think about it. They're like 90% silica. So those shells take a long fucking time to break down because of that high silica content. Um, so what else is in here? Um, Worm castings, which there's probably very little left because this is recycled soil from the indoor grow a few cycles ago. Oh, it smells good. I love the way it smells. Looks like there's little pieces of tree bark in here. So it's like the compost from the the worm farm, they do their own compost blend. So compost, I mean, that's it. It once had nutrients in it, but that's the thing, right? Our plants use these nutrients with the microorganisms to grow, and so it's pretty much devoid probably. So I have a big bag of worm castings, but I forgot it. So it's in my office. I should go grab it, but I'll get it at the end, and we'll just talk about everything else that I have in here. Oh, it's so heavy. Gypsum, calcium sulfate. So it's very heavy. It's cheap. It's an affordable way to add calcium and sulfur to your soil. Sulfur is also an essential mineral. There's 18 essential minerals that your plants need, so you want to make sure that you have all of them. You know, the basics: carbon, hydrogen, oxygen they get from the water and the air that they're in. NPK, nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium. Those are the macros that are needed in the most abundant form. They're used. That's what most like conventional agriculture, right, has that NPK, those 3 numbers on your bag. That's what it stands for. And those numbers are relation to each other, like what percentage they are in comparison to one another. And then calcium, magnesium, and sulfur are not micronutrients. They're not macronutrients. They are secondary nutrients. So they're not needed in as much of an abundance as NPK, but they are definitely super important, especially calcium for cannabis. Okay, and the ratio is anywhere from because all nutrients have synergy. They have a relationship with one another. They can be synergistic or they can be antagonistic. So you really want to make sure that when you are amending things yourself, that you're putting things in the right proportions. So balancing your soil minerals. Calcium and magnesium are a great example of this. Calcium and magnesium are both cations. So cations are positively charged. And so they need in order for them to like be taken up by the plant, they find, they take up a cation exchange site. And so because magnesium and calcium are both cations, both positively charged, they can compete for the space on that cation exchange site on your root with your plant. So potassium is also a cation. And when we are balancing our soil, we want to make sure that we remember, okay, so NPK is in the most abundant form, but if we have too much, like too much potassium, then we can outcompete that space for calcium and magnesium, which are also essential for our cannabis plant's growth. Now, the proportion that you put in of your soil for the calcium and magnesium is between 2 to 1 or 5 to 1. So anywhere from 2, like calcium being the 2 or 5 to 1 part magnesium. So a lot of the times you can do different additions of, like CalMag products, but sometimes you don't need more magnesium. Sometimes you just need a little bit more calcium. And gypsum is one of those times where you are just adding calcium and sulfur. And so sulfur binds with it, and sulfate minerals are really interesting. I just put up a few weeks ago, maybe a month or 2 ago, sorry, Jesus Christ, time flies by, on my Patreon about sulfate minerals and how they are amazing for your soil, just the things that they can do for your plants in and of themselves, not necessarily the specific mineral, but just that salt bond of a sulfate with a cation. So that's gypsum in a nutshell. I'm going to add gypsum to my soil, calcium sulfate. Then we've got, let me check the chat to see if there's any questions or anything about that, because I just talked about a lot of things. Dealing with faster is more cost and labor effective. Life is better than nutrients. Let life build a system like aquaponics, WCA, peat moss is boss. Okay, cool. WCA, water soluble calcium. Yes, I have a bottle of WCA, and I will. It's a great way to foliar spray calcium, although there's arguments because calcium is not a mobile in nutrients, or mobile in the plant, so it really needs to be like it's once you have a calcium issue, it's difficult to fix it right away. It's best to like just always have sufficient amounts of calcium. And calcium is mobile in water, not within the plant. So a lot of calcium issues can stem from watering issues. So most often, if you've ever grown tomatoes outside and you've experienced blossom end rot, they'll tell you that it's a calcium deficiency, but more often it's a calcium deficiency that is actually caused from watering irregularity because calcium needs to move through water in order for it to be taken up through the plant. And because it doesn't move easily in the plant, you're not going to see um, it move, like different leaves aren't going to show you that, you know what I'm saying? Like that blossom end rot then is indicative of a watering issue. So it's just like holistic thought process there. Like, okay, should you really be adding more calcium to your soil for blossom end rot, or should you just make sure that your irrigation is on point and that you're not letting your plants dry out and then water and then dry out and then water? That's like where you can actually start seeing calcium issues. So we're going to add the gypsum to this, and then we're going to add and I'm not going to add it right now, you guys, because I have to. I did that once on a YouTube video and I was like, oh my God, how am I going to talk with a mask on? So I didn't. And then I got like hate, like, oh, don't post a video of you mixing nutrients without a mask. And I was like, oh, I'm like, okay, yeah, this isn't worth it working. So I will mix my nutrients into the soil after we talk about them, after I'm not live, and I'll wear a mask and I won't get the black lung. Okay, so neem seed meal. I talked about this a little bit earlier. Neem seed meal, again, from fucking India, so is it really sustainable? But I love neem. I'm a neem fiend. Miracle right there. Yeah, neem is great. So it's a 612. It's got a lot of nitrogen in it, and it takes a long time for the nitrogen to break down. So something that you want to look at when you're looking at your nutrients is the solubility. So I don't even know where it is on here. Oh, my nose is so itchy. So this is all slow release nitrogen. 6% is a 612, and all 6% of the nitrogen is water insoluble nitrogen. Why is that important? Nitrogen is highly mobile in water. So having a form of nitrogen that doesn't wash out is amazing. It will help your plants get through the entire cycle with the sufficient amount of nitrogen that they need without yellowing or going into chlorosis. If you want to learn more about why your leaves are yellowing, read my article on the Humboldt Seed Company's blog, Why My Leaves Are Yellowing. I should plug that into the description of show notes. But these being insoluble is amazing for your soil because water insoluble means it's not going to wash out if you have any runoff. And so in this ebb and flow thing, it's really nice because we don't want to leach out any of our nitrogen. We want it to stay inside the medium. And so nitrogen runoff is a huge point of pollution in the world today. We see eutrophication, which is a buildup of nitrogen and phosphorus in our waterways, and things like ammonium sulfate are highly water soluble, and we are putting them in excess in our conventional agriculture, and they're washing down the Mississippi, and they cause huge algal blooms and die-offs of our aquatic life in the Gulf of Mexico. So obviously that's not pertaining to growing in a tent, but just understanding the implications of how we consume things and how it affects our natural environment is really important. And so neem seed meal is an excellent addition for any potting mix. I always use it because that's 6% insoluble nitrogen form. So it just slowly, it has to be broken down by microorganisms, and it's staying in there and not being able to just leach out and cause eutrophication. Fancy word for killing off life in the water. Okay, so and then yeah, it does have the NPK, so a little bit of the other things. Again, I said this is making me already kind of cough a little bit. It smells like Indian food, you guys. It's from India and it smells like Indian food. It smells spicy. It smells great. I love Indian food. Azadirachta indica is its scientific name. And so neem meal, I also use neem oil, which is organic pesticide. It should be used sparingly, obviously. If you need help with IPM, please check out my IPM class. There's so much to learn and encompass in IPM, when you should use things inside, outside. But like I said, neem naturally slows down the reproduction of everything. So it's used in Ayurvedic medicine for men's birth control to consume, like a human can consume neem oil, and it will help slow down his sperm and reduce, the chance of getting a woman pregnant. Um, so it slows down reproduction in insects as well. Um, and it does a really good job of helping when you have intense infestations to spray with neem oil. Do not spray in flower. It is not systemic though, so you can spray in veg and you don't need to worry about it. Because in flour there are concerns. Obviously, it smells like Indian food, and you don't want your flour to smell like Indian food. But there is anecdotal evidence. It has not been proven, but hyperemesis, which is the condition where you vomit uncontrollably after smoking, can be caused by, anecdotally, neem oil. So be very careful. Don't spray in flour. Use it only in veg. BioLive. BioLive is one of my favorite nutrients amendments. I love it. It has all kinds of amazing things in it. Down to Earth makes all of these, and Down to Earth is, well, not all of these, just these two. But Down to Earth is everywhere. You can get they're a great company, and I love that it's in craft paper. You know, it's great. Let's learn more about the BioLive. The BioLive contains a ton of beneficial microorganisms, so great for just like boosting that life, especially when you're growing inside, not outdoors, where life proliferates and is everywhere. You're not too worried about adding microbes outside. But so this has 4.6% insoluble nitrogen as well, but it also has 0.4% soluble nitrogen. And as soon as we get it in there and the water's um, in, and the soil's moist, and the plants are planted, and the soil food web starts kicking off, that insoluble nitrogen is going to start slowly being broken down and solubilized by the microorganisms. Now, this contains a lot of sea products. So, again, fish bone meal, fish meal, so like the excess from like processing fish, because think about it. If you guys have ever gone fishing, I love fishing. I thought I was going to be a fish biologist, y'all. I love fish. Anyway, they are our number one depleted resource in the world. We used to have fish in so many numbers that it was like you could walk across the backs of the salmon across the Columbia River. 90%, 98% of our rivers have been dammed and have stopped historical spawning grounds of these salmon that go out to the ocean for 4 years, then come back, bringing all of those ocean nutrients to our inland rivers to spawn, die, decay. We're seeing all kinds of, like, everything's connected, y'all. So pay attention. I try to, buy fish ethically. It's hard. It's just, it's, you know, it's a difficult thing to be aware and to be conscious of the choices that, how they impact the world around us. But um, fish meal, fish bone meal are byproducts of the fishing industry. So, when you buy fish, you just get the fillet. Well, where the hell does all that other shit go? Well, they can turn it into fertilizer like this. So, fish meal, alfalfa being a high nitrogen grass that is really good for mulching, building soil, and it's higher in nitrogen. I believe it's a legume, and so it fixes nitrogen. Don't quote me on that. I probably shouldn't have said that because it's just like a idea, a thought that I think I read. But crab meal, shrimp meal, langbonite, and kelp meal. So more sea products, crab and shrimp. contain, well, I don't know about shrimp. Crab contains chitin in the cell walls. It's like an insect, right? Crabs are like giant spiders, and the exoskeleton contains a lot of chitin. Chitin is um, something that is also in the cell walls of mushrooms, and it stimulates a stress response in plants to produce more jasmonic acid, which is a plant hormone that communicates with all of the other plant hormones, and it tells your plant to produce more secondary metabolites like methyl jasmonate, and then in turn more terpenes or other secondary metabolites, other volatile organic compounds. So having crab meal is an excellent source of chitin for your plants. And then also, obviously, mycorrhizal fungi. So this contains a ton of different varieties of mycorrhizal fungi, endo and ecto, which we don't really need the ecto because ecto puts the fruiting bodies, and endo is what actually penetrates the cells of the root cells. It actually goes into the roots and grows in and has that relationship. Almost 90% of all plant species have a relationship with one type of endomycorrhizal fungi or another, and cannabis is no exception. There are three that I can, or two or three that I can think of right now: Glomus introdices and Rhizophaga irregularis that have a specific, and then Glomus mosaic. I think those first two are actually just the same thing. They just were renamed and classified because we're learning more and we're changing the names. Um, but, and then there's a ton of bacteria in there as well. All of the bacillus, I love the Bacillus megaterium, does a really great job of solubilizing phosphorus. What else? There's pan bacillus, freeform, azobacter, those are both to help fix nitrogen into the soil. Pseudomonas, Pomalis thuringiensis, Bacillus thuringiensis, you guys, that's also, BT. So really great. I'm going to add that in there. Good stuff. BioLive. I love Down to Earth, y'all. Oh, the other 3 bags are so heavy. Let's see here. Grab this. See if I can drag it over here. So we've got our NPK, and we've got our calcium, and we've got our sulfur, and then we've got our basalt rock dust. Oh my God, that hurt my sternum. I have costochondritis. I've had it for a year, and it's like where you have inflammation of the joints. I had 9 ribs popped out of my back. And so, really fucking hurts. I haven't been the same for a long time. I fell really hard snowboarding last year and I popped the ribs out, and then I've had inflammation in my sternum, and it's really limited my lifting abilities, my strength. Okay, so basalt rock dust is going to have a ton of trace minerals, and it also has a lot of magnesium. So the ratio, it has calcium, magnesium, manganese, and iron predominantly, and then there's trace minerals in it, like smaller amounts that it doesn't say specifically, but also kelp. Kelp is going to contain a lot of those trace minerals. So trace minerals, I mean like boron, copper, zinc, and all the other long lists. There's 18 total. So cobalt's one. What else? Silica. Silica's in the rice hulls, and I'll put silica minerals in there as well. Okay, so the ratio on this is 1.7 to 1 on the calcium to magnesium, so it's almost equal. So that's why adding just that gypsum is going to help add a little bit more calcium so that we're getting that ratio closer to the 2 to 1 to 5 to 1 ratio of calcium to magnesium, because we want more calcium than we have magnesium. So there you go. We've got the basalt rock dust. So think about where our minerals come from. This is like the original place where the foundation of all minerals. So everything else is secondary. All of it, well, the gypsum not, but like the BioLive and the neem seed meal. What did it have to do? Like it had to go through so many different life cycles for those nutrients to be stored in whatever, like in a neem tree or a crab. And it all started with this right here, basalt. This is the very beginning of those nutrients. Basalt is an igneous rock, so that means it's a volcanic rock. Basalt has a specific So I took a geology class. It was super fascinating because rocks are grouped according to the minerals that are contained within them. So like basalt and granite are related because of those minerals, but the way that they are formed is different. Where basalt extrudes out, it's not like where granite is slow cooling. Um, so there's like andesite and rhyolite, which are really similar, and then basalt and granite, which are really similar, and they are found in the same places, and I think have very similar mineral compositions, but the way that they're formed is different. Basalt is going to be like that lava black things that are coming out. Extrude, that's the word. Extrude. So you have like pumice and obsidian, which are volcanic. Obsidian's like volcanic glass, and pumice, they both are shot out of a volcano really fast, where pumice has a ton of air pockets in it, gas, I should say, gas pockets. That's what all those holes are. It's called vesicular rock. And then obsidian is no gas bubbles in it, but they're both exploded out violently. And then basalt is that slow extrusion of magma from Earth's crust. So this is where the origination of those minerals that are found in all of the other things, right? Because rocks, it's like this one giant circle. Things are tectonic plates, and our fault lines are where we see, the earth is moving, and we're having vents that go straight down into magma pockets, and then we're going to see volcanic activity pulling up magma and bringing those minerals to the earth's surface, and then through weathering and like enzymes and chemicals, catalysts, things that change the form of this into smaller and smaller parts like this. This is really, really fine. So I'm going to breathe away because you don't want to breathe this stuff in, right? You don't want to breathe in any of these minerals, but it's so fine. Like, it feels really nice, honestly. It feels like a silky smooth mud bath. So I like to use basalt and glacial rock dust, but it just depends. So they have a little bit different mineral composition. So glacier rock dust is going to be finely ground minerals from glacial moraines where that glacier has pushed rock material. And I actually collected some glacial rock dust when I went backpacking through um, Alberta, Canada last summer. I got a pocket full. So anyway, that's how minerals start, from the center of the Earth's crust, extruded out through magma, broken down slowly. Then they're used by plants. They harness the minerals that are in that rock dust, and then the plants grow, and then the animals eat them, and then the animals die, and then those minerals are in the crab and the neem, and it all started down in the Earth's crust as from the rocks. So that's going to be in there. Um, and then I've got, that's too heavy. I'm not bringing it over, you guys. I'm sorry. Oh, okay. You talk me into it. I will. I'll bring it over. I'll bring these little ones first. I've got so many goodies. I love my little witch's brew, my concoction. Okay. This one right here. You see that big old 50-pound bag of malted barley. So let's talk about malted barley. Malted barley is super high in enzymes. It is a seed. So we have like a long time ago, years ago, I was like into sprouted seed teas, but now I ain't got time for that. And brewers have figured it out. They have harnessed the enzyme activity in malt. And so this is a 2-row pale barley, and you can get it from your local brew shop. Everyone loves to drink beer. Well, not everybody, but enough people that most places, oh, I gotta stretch my legs out. Most places have home brew shops, so you can buy malted barley there. Again, you're gonna have to buy it normally in like a 50-pound bag. Sometimes they will break it down for you and you can just get 1 pound at a time, but it doesn't really go bad. I mean, it will eventually, but I use so much of it. I put it in my soil. I have a mill and I grind it up, and I did put a sprinkling on top of the autoflowers. I don't recommend that. That was also another experiment. I normally just put it into water, stir it up, water it in. It contains a whole variety of enzymes that do things like phosphatases, which breaks down phosphorus. so that it's available to your plant. Amylase, which converts carbohydrates into fermentable sugars, which your bacteria are going to really love. And then it is high in lignin, carbohydrates that your fungus will feed on. So you're going to see like an explosion of fungal growth when you throw in some malted barley. So I just mix that into the soil, and then I also grind some up into a fine powder, put it into teas. And then let's see here. So I got my yucca, obviously, yucca root powder, order it. I've got the free sample. You have to use Yucca Please because I had to figure out a way of limiting one free sample per customer. So it's on my shop. I think it's like $2.99 or $1.99 for a sample size, but you just put Yucca Please in and it's free. Yucca grows in the desert. It grows all over the place, but it's a really hardy plant, so it improves heat and drought stress. And it contains IAA, indole acetic acid, which is an auxin responsible for cell elongation. So it really helps with your plants growing. It's a surfactant, so it reduces the surface tension of water. So I'll just sprinkle in a little bit of that into my soil. I also put it in with every watering and foliar application because it makes water wetter. That's what I like to say. So then we got fulvic. Fulvic again. This is, I can't remember what source this is. I bought a huge bag of it, but fulvic acid, right, increases that cation exchange capacity. It's ancient carbon-based stabilized humus, basically, like peat, coal, all of that shit is stabilized ancient carbon. What is carbon form? Like carbon-based life. We're all carbon-based life. And you can use it, and it helps tie with other minerals to make nutrient uptake more efficient, like by increasing that cation exchange capacity, which means that your plants can take up more cations. So that's going to help, when you have a lot of, if you added too much fucking cations, increase your cation exchange capacity by adding more fulvic or humic acid. Fulvic is a smaller molecule size than humic, so you can use it for foliar applications. It'll actually penetrate the cell walls or the stomata and go within there, whereas humic doesn't. Humic will help bring it to that cation exchange site, but it isn't able to go through that barrier. And then lastly, I have my aloe. These are staples. These are the things that I use in my gardens all the time. And I'm going to be adding a little bit of Organics Alive into the nutrient water bucket, that bitch that I put together early on. And I have their lineup. But these things are all going to go into my soil. Aloe is amazing, high content of salicylic acid, also plant hormones, and yeah, I'm excited. I will continue recording. I'm gonna go get those plants eventually, but oh yeah, here, this is also a nifty tool. So this is a scale, a postal scale. I do ship things from like Yucca if you want to order from my store. But I also double it and use it to weigh out nutrients because a lot of these are, it's just weight per volume of square footage, right, of your soil volume. So weigh it out, do the math. Math is good for your brain. Honestly, don't ask me to do the math for you because everyone should be doing more math. And you wouldn't believe how many people hit me up asking me to figure out how much of what they should add. They're like, oh, you said I should use this. How much should I use it? How much should I put in? I'm like, do the math, figure it out. It's good for your brains. So let me read the chat and see. And see what we got. What's the difference between gypsum and rock phosphate? That's a great question. Which rock phosphate I didn't bring out here? That's what I'm missing. I'm missing my Cal Phos rock phosphate. So go good. I'm glad I read the chat. I don't even know where it is. It wasn't there. So I use Calphos rock phos. It's a soft rock phosphate for my phosphorus source. Because I do not like to use guanos, which is also another another point of sustainability arguments. And like someone said in the chat, like people are spelunking for bat guano. There's a difference between spelunking for bat guano and ripping out cave ecosystems with machinery to remove all of the guano, which is how a lot of bat guano and seabird guano. And then once you do that to a cave, the bats won't ever come back. Not to mention there's countless other species who live in caves. So at first I used to use guanos for my phosphorus source. And now I use a soft rock phosphate, which is mined and has its own other set of sustainability issues, but you have to choose what you have to choose. And I really like the rock phosphate, soft rock phosphate. So gypsum is calcium sulfate, rock phosphate is calcium phosphate. So phosphorus. So that's the difference. Phosphate and sulfate are both salt-based. They're SO4 and PO4. So it's phosphorus and oxygen bound together to create a anion. And then the cation is the calcium, and that makes that together. And then when they hit water, they actually separate, and then your plant can use the phosphorus, and it can use the calcium, or it can use the sulfur if you're using gypsum. So I'm glad I read the comment because my rock phosphate isn't here, and I don't know where it is. But that's a great. I highly recommend it, and it comes in micronized form. I do use like the crushed form as much as possible. Phosphorus is something that gets really tightly bound to soil minerals and particles, and so the smaller it is, the easier it can be solubilized by that Bacillus megaterium, right? That bacteria that likes phosphorus. And then also the barley, the malted barley contains a ton of phosphate. So like I was saying, when you want to attract specific species to do specific tasks for you, you want to give them the right food source, right? Because we're working with an ecosystem. And so by providing the phosphorus, barley is super high in phosphorus. So you're adding more phosphorus into your soil that way, but it's also that has the enzyme phosphatases in there to break it down, to make it soluble for your plant. And then it's also going to attract phosphorus loving bacteria like Bacillus megaterium, which we're providing a food source for them with. We've got the bacteria in here and we've got the food source. And then that rock phosphate, add a little bit of that wherever the hell that went. I don't know. Must be somewhere in the garage. But that gives you pretty much everything. And then the kelp has all of those other trace minerals too, and that's in the BioLive kelp meal. And then I also use a maxi crop water soluble kelp as well. I have it like in a jar like this. I just don't know where that one is either. Somewhere. So let me go back to the chat and see what else. Do you have any book recommendations overall? Also, I'm doing your mushroom grow along and I love it so far. Yay, I'm so happy. I haven't put together my mushrooms into the monotub yet. If you haven't, Caitlin, get onto the Discord because we've been talking about, that's where the grow along chatter is happening, is in Discord. So get in there and we'll talk about it more and do some updates. Hey, honey, do you know where the rock foss is? I thought we used it all. Okay, we need to get more. So that's what we're missing is rock foss. What are you looking for? Okay. Yeah, I have the cool shades on. Well, that was, let's see. People in DWC that are dumping runoff down the drain or the drain to waste systems are making Mississippi Delta in your yard, septic tank in your cities who are no better than big ag. Yeah, I don't know much about that, but yeah, that sucks. Waterproof kitchen scales. I should probably get that too. And yes, the castings. The castings are in my office, and I am using the BioVast vermicompost from SD Microbes, which is also available on my website if you do not have worms. And I killed my worms. They're fine. I mean, they'll probably rebound over the summer, but it's freezing ass cold, and I made my worm bin too big to move. So, and then it was filled with food. So I have a ton of castings down low, but I didn't stop feeding them in time for winter to come. I wasn't thinking, I didn't have the foresight of like, oh, I should stop feeding them so they can consume all of this. I just kept filling it with food, and then winter came and they stopped, they froze. And so now I have like a few inches of castings below a ton of half rotten and half decomposed food. It's pretty gross. Um, Definitely gonna rethink that system next year. I like the little totes, those I built one of those as well, but then I had it inside and fucking fruit flies and fungus gnats and shit were just going crazy. So I put that outside because when I had that explosion of fungus gnats, it was like right next to my fucking worm bin. And that's the issue about growing indoors, man. That's why I just love growing outside and just being a dirt ball, hanging outside, outdoors all day. But it's wintertime and we can't do that here. Um, yeah, the indoor worm bin, I just need to figure out how to mitigate those flies because man, there's so many. Oh, my cat's coming to say hi. Um, Down to Earth offers bat guano and rock phosphate. You're still supporting the bat guano excavation even if you buy the minerals. Um, yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah, that's why I was buying from Peaceful Valley, which is, they don't support any guanos, whereas Down to Earth buys or sells the guano, the bat guano. And so then, like he's saying, you are supporting it inadvertently. And it's just so hard, like being conscious and aware and trying to like choose things like for me, buying Down to Earth that's right there at the worm farm instead of ordering things on the internet from maybe a company that doesn't support guano. It's like, okay, but then my carbon footprint is this big, and it's like, holy shit, there's just so many fucking things to, you just have to try your best and do a little bit better each time and just try to um um just try to be better. Just try to be aware and teach other people and like be like humble about it and not be preachy. Just like, I'm just trying to do my best here, grow some good weed, be happy, spread positive vibes, and like not hurt the earth and do what I can to, save our ecosystems for future generations and protect species that can't speak up for themselves because everything has intrinsic value simply for existing. And um, uh, it's just, you know, we're here on this earth to help each other out, to learn together, and I'm open to always trying to be better and learn more. So, thank you guys for joining me today. And we are going to wrap this up, and I'm going to mix these nutrients with a mask on, and then I will take a video of setting up the system with my GoPro and post it later. So, um, yeah, Mr. Django, damned if you do or you don't. It's just life, I guess. Always, there's always something, but let's just try. Let's just try. Thanks, guys. I will be on here on Thursday for another live stream. I've really been preferring the live streams over the videos, like the editing, because I'm just not a video editor. I can teach, and it's easier for me to just do this for you live rather than fucking record it, edit it, put it on. So much more work. I already have a million projects going. So thanks for the support. Check out Sungrown Stories. If you want to be a part of the Grow Along, check out the Patreon. And I appreciate each and every one of you. Again, free yucca samples on queenofthesungrown.com. Yucca please. Code yucca please. Try it out. All right. Bye.